VM खलीलुर रहमान चैनल में आपका खैर मकदम है।
Assalamu alaikum. I am reading a report from The Wire. Please listen to it. Diplomacy. Full text. Salman, Khurshid on India's diplomacy, Palestine and more. By Sidharth, Bhatia. July 1, 2025. In a recent episode of The Wire Talks, Sidharth Bhatia spoke with Salman Khurshid about India's foreign policy, its shifting stance on Palestine, and the challenges posed by the regional and international dynamics. As a former Minister of External Affairs, Khurshid provided insights into the country's diplomatic approach, including its relationships with Israel, Palestine, and neighboring countries, as well as India's position on terrorism and evolving global conflicts. The following is the full text of the talk transcribed by Sidharth Kochhar. Sidharth Bhatia. Hello and welcome to the Wire Talks. I am Sidharth Bhatia. Where does India stand on the events in the Middle East? It is well known that India now leans noticeably towards Israel, giving up its long-standing support of Palestine. India has not criticized the bombing in Gaza and abstained from voting against a resolution in the UN General Assembly against Israel. Meanwhile, with President Trump consistently insisting he got the India-Pakistan conflict to stop, Prime Minister Modi finds himself in a bind and has not yet made a statement personally denying it. Questions are also being asked if the many multi-party delegations sent out to explain India's position on terrorism achieved their purpose. Who did they meet? Which countries have vocally expressed their support for India? We have no clear answers. All this misses questions about Indian diplomacy and the direction it has taken. My guest today is Salman Khurshid, the right man to answer these questions. An Oxford University trained lawyer, Khurshid was Minister of External Affairs in the Manmohan Singh government between 2012 and 2014. He was also part of the multi-party delegation sent by the Modi government to Southeast Asian countries. Salman Khurshid, welcome to the Wire Talks. Salman Khurshid, thank you. Always a pleasure. Sidharth Bhatia, you went on a delegation sent by the government to Malaysia, South Korea, and other countries. If I am not mistaken, what kind of reaction did you get? Salman Khurshid, well, what is the word one can use? There were satisfactory meetings, there were comforting meetings, but there were limits to the satisfaction we could have achieved. It was underscored that condolences had been communicated that all those countries had given their support against terrorism to India and that they hoped things would remain peaceful in the region. Salman Khurshid, however, there were specifics. For example, regarding the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, and the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, such as the grey list or blacklist, where we couldn't get clear commitments. They certainly signified that they would take it on board and do their best. But in that short interaction, it was difficult to secure firm commitments. Salman Khurshid. That said, I do believe our diplomats will have an easier path following up on these discussions. Sidharth, Bhatia, no. But when you say limits, what exactly do you mean? For example, were they convinced with India's case that Pakistan was behind terrorism? Salman Khurshid, well, to be truthful, we didn't get to talk a great deal about it, except that we presented the evidence that we had both of the past and of the incident itself, and they took it on board. I mean, there were some interlocutors who were familiar with part. Salman Khurshid, well, you have answered that question. If we have a telephone voice, we don't seem to have a physical voice, but we do have a telephone voice. But anybody can have a telephone voice. This reminds me of a joke someone once told me. They said that they were in Europe, someplace, and Krishan Rana was screaming and shouting about, look at this happening wrong, look at that happening wrong. So that is that, he said. I called him and said, Krishan, what is the matter with you? What are you trying to do? And Krishan Rana said, I am trying to speak to Delhi. I am trying to give a message to Delhi. So that is what he said. I told him, well, why don't you use the phone? Get up to your phone and you get your voice across to Delhi. So it is the same issue here, that if they would only know how to use the voice to get it and get it across to friends and not friends alike, we will be in a better position. Salman Khurshid, but I think we are so lost in ourselves and we are so enamored of our own greatness, etc., that we have forgotten the art of diplomacy in many ways. And I think perhaps what we need to do is to get back to the drawing table and begin lessons in diplomacy once again. I mean, I say this with a little care because I know we have some outstanding diplomats, many who are still serving and many who are retired, but they are all available. They are all available to give this country a good point of view and give this country a good status in the world. Sidharth, Bhatia, no, but of course, the political leadership has to be there. But are you saying, therefore, that in any situation, whether it is a warlike situation or any other situation, India does not have the clout to enter the conversation and say, here is an idea we have, here is something we could do? It does not have that clout. Is that what you are saying? Salman, Khurshid, well, we can't judge whether we have the clout or not, but we have really forgotten the methodology. We have forgotten how to put that clout across and have the clout tested. I go back to having said that lecturing is not enough. Lecturing is not enough. I mean, this in the world, which is bursting with conflict today. We are giving out messages and parroting phrases about this is not the age of war. This is the age of peace. Now, how hollow that sounds today to say this is not an age of war, considering that we have just been in a conflict ourselves and that we are dealing with a conflict in our extended neighborhood and indeed in Europe. All the roots that lead to India's prosperity are under threat. And yet we are saying that this is an age of peace. It is not an age of war. Well, let us get up and do something about the age of war, because there is too much war around. And I think India deserves and India requires to get up and be able to say something that will make a difference. Sidharth, Bhatia, and he heard. Salman, Khurshid, yeah, and be heard and understood. I think that is important. Sidharth, Bhatia, finally, if you were called and said, okay, you are full of these ideas, tell us how we should go back to the drawing board, what we should do. What would you say? Salman, Khurshid, well, listen, I understand, but this is where domestic politics and international relations come together. I don't think you can keep the two completely separate. You have to find a bridge between them. And I think you are serious issues about domestic politics and international relations to think that people don't care about what is happening at home.
थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग। आपने सुना, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।